Okay, one last thing, and you guys will not be victimized about me anymore. Over a dozen years of Newell ownership, I have accumulated a number of these little parts boxes of electrical parts and this and whatnot. This is my fittings box. And the first thing I want to tell you is, if you don't know this already, the airline sizes that are used on the coach are common plastic airlines. And you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace and buy fittings that will fit on those airlines. And they will work. But they are not approved by the Department of Transportation. And if you're not familiar with this, you may say, well, what's the difference other than the DOT fitting is twice the cost? And if you will compare a DOT fitting with a hardware store fitting, you will see immediately what the differences are. The DOT fitting is much beefier. It has a ferrule that goes on side. It is much heavier on the inside of the airline. Second thing you'll notice as you start using replacement fittings, and I think Steve's going to spend a lot of time talking about this tomorrow, there are two kinds. There are the push-on kind, where you just cut the end of the tubing square, stick it in there, and you are done. There are the kind where you have to put the nut over it, then put the crimped barrel over the fitting, and then put it on the fitting, take 2 wrenches, and tighten it down. My practice for the last 10 years has been, whenever I find a leaking push-on connect fitting, when I go to fix it and replace it, I always replace it with a screw barrel fitting. I do not use push-on fittings as a fix. Because sooner or later, they leak. All right. However, in your handy-dandy kit of things that you really need, and while I'm looking for your diagram, I'm going to post an invoice list from a hardware store called McMaster Car. They're not the cheapest place in the world. I don't care where you buy your stuff, but they always send it to me within 2 days, and it's high-quality stuff. And they have a fantastic selection. So if you want to spend more time saving $1 on a fitting, knock yourself out.
Because you said you were going to post that invoice? Or
I'm going to post that invoice.
Okay.
But in your kit of things that you need a collection. Well, that's the wrong size for that, but you'll get an idea. I'm going to pass this one around this side. That's a quarter. This is a 3/8. And what this is a female on each end push-on tube connector. And what it is handy for is if somehow you have burned a hole, cut a hole, sliced a hole, developed a hole, something in an airline. You can snip it in two, put this thing in the middle, and in a minute you're back on the road. Because as I told you when we were going through your coach the other day, the death of the Newell is airlines. You lose air pressure, you're not going anywhere. And even the new ones have, in addition to all the DOT stuff, they just physically won't go into gear if you don't have air pressure. There's some interchecks in there. Now, that black thing that's in the end of that double thing is just called a blank, and you buy that from McMaster too. Because if you can put that blank in the end of it, you can use it to plug an airline just by slipping this on there. You may not want to reconnect an airline, you may just want to cap one off. So by having one or two of these in quarter, 3/8 and a half, you'll cover almost every airline size that is on the coach. that you're likely to run into trouble with.
And they're all double female?
They're all double female.
But you're back to push-on. You recommend these?
I only use these for push-ons because this is emergency, and I may not be able to get up in the wheel well. And I'll tell you where I've used this quite to my advantage. On the 2 slide coaches, Newell, in their infinite wisdom, ran the air line that supplies the rear seal in the rear wheel well. And if you lose airbag pressure on that side and it sits down on the tires, the first thing to give it up is that airline. Those tires will burn a hole right in that nylon airline. Now, I mean, who would have ever thought? So there you are. You can't build air pressure in the coach to get off the side of I-75. So I took 2 of these and a piece of DOT fitting that I had on board, and I replaced that section in about 2 minutes. And it
Got you on the road.
got me air pressure back up so I could then put it in leveling mode and raise the coach off the tires.
And
Air
then
doors use 8mm hose. Air doors use 8mm hose.
Yeah, air doors, because they come from Europe, and there's a few other things that use metric polyurethane hose. If you can measure it,
air hose, air truck jobbers, they have it. That's where you get that stuff.
you can get that from McMaster too. So I'm going to show you guys just a couple of DOT fittings, just because.
Quick connection with the blank.
Here is a right angle 3/8 fitting for a 3/8 NPT thread. And you'll notice a couple things about it. See that heavy ferrule where the tubing goes in? And then the ones you'll get from McMaster will already have some pipe dope on the threads.
Really?
What that red stuff is. Believing in belt and suspenders, I always put more. And you may know this, you may not. You're dealing with the air system and you're threading in fittings. Teflon tape is not your friend. Use pipe dope. Teflon tape invariably gives little shreds, and they will migrate in the system, and you will be picking them out of an air solenoid somewhere, sooner or later. Because it will stop them up and keep you from operating your toilet, operating an air door, operating the air dump valve. This is a 1/4 inch female to female butt splice that if I've used one of those temporary things, I'm probably going to come back later and do it the right way.
And what is the right way?
With the mechanical, not to push on. With the compression fitting, thank you. It will pay you while you're ordering this. Order yourself 25 feet of nylon DOT 1/4 tubing, 10 or 25 feet of 3/8, and a couple of feet of half. You'll probably never use the 3/8 and a half, but it's cheap and it doesn't hurt your gas mileage to carry it around. And the day that you need it, you will be glad that you have it.
Now, the coaches that are a little newer than ours, we have lots of 1/4s, they have lots of 3/8s.
Okay, so maybe you
So
need
they're
20
more on the 3/8s.
take
than we are.
25 feet of 3/8.
That's why their coach is level so much quicker than ours,
Because
we got 1/4 inch lines and they got 3/8s.
And you can cut that tubing with your pocket knife or a razor knife, but it seats the best and seals the best when it has a really square edge on it. And you can buy a tubing cutter at Lowe's for $10. It's like a little finger thing with a razor blade in the middle, and it puts a perfectly square edge on it every time. It's a worthwhile tool to have in your kit.
If you use dikes or something else, it exits, it just makes it a nightmare to use.
You guys probably could identify those with your eyes closed. fellas, I've already told you more than I know about these air systems, so unless there's a hot topic, we'll
Why do you suppose they put the primary and secondary up front only to go way back where the brakes are?
it's just, it's landscape where they have room to put them. Because there's a lot of open space under the front, and there's not very much in the back.
Can I give them a schedule?
Please give them a schedule, I'm done.